business ethics can actually make someone to get what we do not actually bargain for, or what one does not bargain for. When we're talking about business ethics, and in answering business ethics questions, someone must be well grounded in the theory of ethics, and that's why we are making it simple. Having said that, supposedly you were born 500 years ago. Let's say we were born around that time. What will have happened to us? Let's say we were born a woman and we could not vote or be voted for. We could not be issued license to drive and the like, just because of a decision that you were not able to partake of in deciding your gender. That is how impactful business ethics could equally be. It could be very impactful, and we are going to look at it from the angle of ethics and law, and also areas in which business ethics can be reflected. Ethics and the law, and the areas in which business ethics can be reflected. And at the end of the day, we should be able to answer some salient questions like, can a business actually that is behaving unethically be expected to satisfy shareholders at the long run? Should a business be allowed actually to act unethically, provided it delivers what customers want? Do you as a person agree that big businesses can no longer be relied upon to behave ethically? And what is more important? Is it profit or ethics? So let's take it one after the other from these angles, answering all the questions about business ethics and simplifying them. When we are talking about business ethics, we cannot isolate it from personal ethics and from professional ethics. And when we are talking about our personal ethics will be shaped by our moral view, our background, how we were raised, where we were raised, where we were born, the school we went to, the languages we are able to speak, the languages we are not able to speak. And the truth of the matter is this: research has established it that our language has impacts on our morality, on our behavior, and the like. If you try to study some languages that are fast spoken, you could detect some aspect of morality generally, though I'm being careful of hasty generalization, as some people will call it in research world. But nevertheless, research has equally established it that our languages has a way of modifying our behavior, especially as a people. So personal ethics is impactful and is coming from those backgrounds, or some of the backgrounds that I've mentioned. Some of them are interwoven to make up who a person is. Don't forget, our focus is on business ethics, but we said that we cannot talk about business ethics because before without talking about personal ethics, because people actually made a business, people actually run the business. And also we cannot talk about business ethics without talking about professional ethics, that is the industry we belong to, the body of knowledge that we belong to, and other certifications that we must have for us to be in that particular business. They all have impact and outlook to life behavior, what is right and what is wrong. When we are talking about business ethics too, to simplify it, we must talk about the teleological or the consequential theory of ethics, or the second division of the ontological, which talks about the theory of ethics of duty. So when a business is coming from the background of teleological, they ensure that the consequence of their policies, of their strategies are in focus, especially how it impacts the customer and other people. While when they are functioning from the basis of deontological is about the duty to shareholders and other stakeholders as they may deem fit. Also, businesses that are being managed by people that are egoists in worldview, we have such reflection in their businesses. Also, those that are utilitarian, we have utilitarian approach to business ethics, and it will reflect all these. We are snapshotting it because we had actually dealt with them in details. Also, a business ethics will reflect absolutism, that is absolute approach to ethics or morality, or could be on the side of relativism, in which we believe that nothing is actually permanent, everything is based on the circumstances in which they arrive. Before we answer those put forward questions when we start, it is important to also let us know some other things about business ethics, that business ethics is more on the side of normative ethics. And what is normative ethics? And is ethics that had its own worldview made up. The do's, the don'ts, the morally correct, morally wrong are actually established in normative ethics, not on the side of descriptive ethics and not on the side of meta ethics. So basically, when we are talking about business ethics, it means therefore we are talking based on normative ethics. While ethics is in itself about what is right, morally wrong, morally justifiable, or morally unjustifiable approach to business or businesses. Legality is about code of conduct that some people, some associations have believed to be morally correct way of doing things or not. Having established that, then we need to talk about the aspects in which morality, business ethics will reflect. Definitely is going to reflect on the way we advertise, on the way we contract, on the way we price, even our pricing system, on the way we relate with customers, suppliers, even personal selling, the way we relate with the professionals in form of employers-employee relationship is going to reflect in the way we deal with CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. Is going to reflect in our dealings with the environment, the environmental policy, and our actions about the green, that is the environment. The rules for personal and corporate integrity is going to reflect in those aspects of our normative style of life. Let's take for example a pricing system. A pricing system with definitely, or pricing of our services or of our goods definitely will reflect whether we are on the side of consequential or non-consequential theory of ethics. For example, if you increase any of your goods maybe by 100% price increase, that simply shows us something, the aspect of ethical theory in which you are trying to operate from. And class, Which aspect would that reflect? Put it in the comments. But do you want me to tell you? An organization that suddenly increased the price of their goods and services by 100%. That must be based on duty especially to the shareholders to justify the profitability. Maybe as a result of inflation, as a result of increase in monetary policy and the like, and they too are in business to make profits. So the non-consequential theory of ethics, that is deontological, the theory of duty will tell us that, well, we just have to damn the consequence. This, the situation we find ourselves as a business in the environment we are in, we just have to increase our price 100%. A consequential or teleological approach won't have done that. Probably rather could have closed the business. So we could see how our style of ethics at the end of the day forms the basis of a business ethical approach. That was why when we started, I said we could not talk about business ethics without talking about personal ethics, without talking about professional ethics and some other aspects of ethical behavior or ethical study. Even in advertisement is going to show our business ethics will reflect the way we contract our agreements is going to reflect. I've had some agreements to be signed and worked on, and after reading through the pages, and we could not go further. Not because something was wrong about the agreement or the like. No, only because the approach to ethics in which the business is operating for or from, or which has reflected in the way they coin the words and the agreement and the like, they were not, we were not from the same world, different approaches. So it simply means equally that the business ethics, at the end of the day, we choose for us who our customers will be, who our suppliers will be, who our employees will equally be. And you now see, therefore, we can conclude on one thing, that business ethics is actually superior and more important to strategy. Don't forget that strategy is very important in business. And you know what strategy is, especially those that have been following GJAMES Associates on this channel. You should know what strategy really means by now. At the heart of strategy is competitiveness, is outward looking, outward focus. It's about how to beat the competition, how to gain more ground. It's not internal policies. Many people, many trainers take or mistake, as the case may be, policy for strategy. They are not the same thing. At the heart of strategy is competitiveness, is how to win the war of our industry, competitiveness. So our approach will tell us who our customer will be. Our business ethics will tell us who even our directors, our shareholders are or will be, who our employees will be, who our customers will be. Because if business ethics conflicts, we have some people drop off, and of course, you know what, we will have some people onboarded too, as the case may be. Those that could go along will go along with our business ethics, and those that could not will fall off. Having established that, the put forward question when we started, can businesses that behave unethically expect to satisfy shareholders in the long run? The answer is no. No, because in satisfying the shareholder at the long run, you need to be profitable. I hope you agree with that. Please put it under the chat box, under the comment. And at the long run, we agree that business ethics triumphs over. I'm actually waiting for us to say something. Business ethics triumphs over strategy. So, if a business will survive, it must get its business ethics correctly and right. If not, at the long run, cannot satisfy shareholders. 2. Should a business be allowed to act unethically, provided that it delivers what customer wants? So, let's go back to ethics and law. It is possible to be ethical, that is, to be morally correct, and it is possible to be very lawful as organizations. But you know what? It is impossible to be ethical and not morally lawful. So it is impossible to be ethical and not lawful. But you know what? It is not impossible to be lawful and unethical. I hope I'm not confusing somebody. Yes, it is possible to be lawful, law abiding, but not ethical. But you cannot be ethical and not be lawful. Don't forget, law is about moral codes. It's about do's and don'ts of maybe a corporate organization, nations, business life, and the like. The do's and don'ts. But what is the spirit of that law? The spirit of those laws is what the ethics are actually dealing with, not the letter, the spirits behind those laws. So are the moral, are the real moral code, and we cannot be ethical and actually not meet all those targets. Having established that an unethical business cannot deliver what customer actually wants unless those customers too are unethical and unlawful. Also, do you agree now as a person, or do we agree as a people on this channel, that big businesses can no longer be relied upon to behave ethically? The answer is yes, and that is why we have Code of Corporate Governance. That is why we have corporate governance situated. That is why we have Institute of Corporate Governance across all nations of the world to, to ensure that ethics, morality are inculcated as part of business processes and worldview. What is more important, profit or ethics? Profit or ethics? Well, I could not actually answer that, because if I should answer that, I will be say prejudice, they call it. Yes, because to answer that, you have to be on the world view. Either you are on the consequential or non-consequential. Either you are an egoist or utilitarian. So, what is more important? Is it profit that is important? Is it ethics that is important? Please, let's put it on the chat box and let's take the discussion up on the business ethics. Don't forget to subscribe, like GJAMES Associates channel. We are value to life, we are value to your businesses. We had looked at a lot of different topics earlier: the utilitarian, has been covered, and that is the reason we are just snapshotting everything, and we had dealt with a lot of others. See, tax avoidance. Now when we are talking about ethics and law, tax avoidance and evasion, tax avoidance, tax evasion, if you've been following us, you'll be able to equally answer as it relates to business ethics about what tax avoidance and the implication and the impactfulness of tax evasion. So in summarizing everything, we cannot discuss business ethics in your exams without touching on personal ethics, and personal ethics are shaped by our worldview, and our worldview are shaped by what we've experienced, where how we were raised, where we were raised, the languages we can speak, the people we've related with, and a host of others. Also, we cannot talk about business ethics without talking about our professional ethics, because the code of conduct of the industry, of the body of knowledge in which we are associated with, we have a tone on our business style, because it contains the do's and the don'ts of the profession, and running foul of it equally makes our business unethical. So we see how all these are interwoven, whether we are the egoist as a people or utilitarian, as managers, as directors, they will have a lot to do with our business ethics. We said it that business ethics basically is functioning from the platform of normative ethics, and that is not a descriptive ethics, neither is meta ethics, even though meta ethics will have influence on business ethics. In fact, it establishes it, and descriptive ethics may have input when we are talking about what an organization is, but basically a business ethics is under normative ethics as a subject of discussion. From GJAMES Associate Channel, if you are new here, Gbenga Olatunji SCA has been speaking. We have value to life, we have value to your businesses. Don't forget to click like, comment, and share. Click all notification. We have value to life, we have value to your businesses.